Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining this morning. Our Srimad Bhagavatam class, weekly welcome class and attentive Japa. Thank you for the association. We'll make a start. Right now, we were talking about the pregnancy of Diti in the evening. Part 1 was last week. And we're going to continue that into part 2 today. So last week, we were discussing how actually we established how marriage is a wonderful practice, although many people might not agree with that, but according to the Shastras, marriage is a wonderful practice, at least spiritually, it's a wonderful practice, and its advantages for spirituality, for self and humanity at large are really great, provided religious principles are observed. Now, Diti and Kashyap Muni did not follow the religious principles on this occasion. So then it can cause problems. Similarly, in our normal average marriage, if you marriages for sense gratification, then problems occur. Srila Prabhupada always mentions that where there's a man and a woman, and there is a relationship of sense gratification between a man and a woman, there will also be problems. That is guaranteed. So Kashyap Muni warns his wife that there will be consequences for breaking the religious principles. There will be punishment forthcoming in the form of unruly sons. So Diti becomes pregnant and she'll be giving birth to 2 boys. Lord Shiva regards no one as his relative. So they were saying last week that there will be punishment from Lord Shiva. And it says here that, and Diti was saying, well, he's our very close relation, so maybe he'll be more forgiving. But Kashyap Muni says, Lord Shiva regards no one as his relative, yet there is no one who is not connected with him. He doesn't regard anyone as very favorable or abominable. We respectfully worship the remnants of his foodstuff, and we vow to accept what is rejected by him. Kashyap informed his wife that just because Lord Shiva happened to be his brother-in-law, that should not encourage her in her offense towards him. Kashyap warned her that actually Lord Shiva is not connected with anyone, nor is he anyone's enemy. Since he is one of the 3 controls of the universal affairs, he is equal to everyone. His greatness is incomparable because he is a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is said that among all the devotees of the Personality of Godhead, Lord Shiva is the greatest. Thus, the remnants of foodstuff left by him are accepted by other devotees as Mahaprasad, or great spiritual foodstuff. The remnants of foodstuff offered to Lord Shri Krishna are called prasad. But when the same prasad is eaten by a great devotee like Lord Shiva, it is called Mahaprasad, or as we call Maha. Lord Shiva is so great that he does not care for the material prosperity for which every one of us is so eager. Parvati, who is the powerful material nature personified, is under his full control as his wife, yet he does not use her even to build a residential house. He prefers to remain without shelter, and his great wife also agrees to live with him humbly. People in general worship goddess Durga, the wife of Lord Shiva, for material prosperity, but Lord Shiva engages her in his in his service without material desire. He simply advises his great wife that all kinds of worship, the worship of Vishnu is the highest, and greater than that is the worship of a great devotee or anything in relation with Vishnu. So this is the amazing Lord Shiva that people are asking his wife for benedictions, but he uses her in the service of the Lord. Let's do a quick prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham karoti vashanam pangum lamyate girim yat kirpataham vande Shri Guru Din Taranam Param Ananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tassat Narayan Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Uduriyet Nasta Presha Vabadareshu Nityam Bhagavad Sevya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhakti Neshtaki. Hare Krishna. So although no one in the material world is equal to or greater than Lord Shiva, and although his unimpeachable character is followed by great souls to dismantle the mass of nuisance, he nevertheless remains as if a devil to give salvation to all devotees of the Lord. So Lord Shiva is uncivilized. Devilish characteristics are never abominable because he teaches the sincere devotees of the Lord how to practice detachment from material enjoyment. So this is just to set an example for the devotees. He is called Mahadev, or the greatest of all demigods, and no one is equal to or greater than him in the material world. He is almost equal with Lord Vishnu, although he is always associates with Maya, Durga. He is above the reactionary stage of the three modes of material nature, and although he's in charge of devilish characters in the mode of ignorance, he is not affected by such association. So demigods like Brahma also follow the religious rites observed by him. He is the controller of the material energy, which causes the creation of the material world. He is great, and therefore his devilish characteristics are simply imitation. Lord Shiva is the husband of Durga, the controller of the material energy. Durga is personified material energy, and Lord Shiva, being a husband, is the controller of the material energy. He is also the incarnation of the mode of ignorance and one of the three deities representing the Supreme Lord. As his representative, Lord Shiva is identical with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is very great, and his renunciation of all material enjoyment is an ideal example of how one should be materially unattached. One should therefore follow in his footsteps and be unattached to matter, not imitate his uncommon acts like drinking poison. So we always follow things that we are attracted by, and we tend to ignore the things that really matter. And what example actually he's really setting for us. We just ignore that, and we just try and imitate what gives us enjoyment. So thereafter, the Brahman took his bath in the water. So we come back to Kashyap Muni now, having described Lord Shiva. Thereafter, the Brahman took his bath in the water and controlled his speech by practicing trance, meditating on the eternal effulgence, and chanting the holy Gayatri hymns within his mouth. Kashyap Muni meditated on the impersonal Brahm Jyoti by chanting the Gayatri mantra within his mouth. When a Vedic mantra is chanted within the mouth so that only the chanter can hear, chanting is called japa. But when such mantras are chanted loudly, it is called kirtan, says Prabhupada. The Vedic hymn Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare can be chanted both softly to oneself or loudly. Therefore, it is called the Mahamantra, or is the great hymn. So Kashyap Muni appears to be an impersonalist. Comparing his character with that of Thakur Haridas is as referred to above. It is clear that the personalist is stronger in sense control than the impersonalist. This is explained in Bhagavad-Gita as Param Drishtva Nivartate. One is supposed to be purified after taking a. So one ceases to accept lower grade things when one is situated in a superior condition. One is supposed to be purified after taking bath and chanting Gayatri. But the Maha Mantra is so powerful that one can chant loudly or softly in any condition and is protected from all the evils of material existence. And why is it called Mahamantra? It's called Mahamantra because it has the power of all mantras put together. This is why such a powerful mantra. So you chant any other mantra, and you just chant Mahamantra, same thing. So the beautiful Diti said, my dear Brahman, kindly see that my embryo is not killed by Lord Shiva, the Lord of all living entities, because of the great offense I have committed against him. So Diti was conscious of her offense and was anxious to be excused by Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva has two popular names, Rudra and Ashutosh. He is very prone to anger as well as quickly pacified. Diti knew that because of his being quickly angered, he might spoil the pregnancy she had so unlawfully achieved. But because he was also Ashutosh, she implored her Brahman husband to help her in pacifying Lord Shiva. For her husband was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. In other words, Lord Shiva might have been angry with Diti, but because she obliged her husband to transgress the law, but he would not refuse her husband's prayer. He would not refuse her husband's prayer. Therefore, the application for excuse was submitted through her husband. So Diti is thinking that Lord Shiva should be angry with me, and he probably is, but it was not the husband's fault. And maybe they are still on good terms, and she could use him to get forgiveness from Lord Shiva because he's very forgiving. So the learned Kashyap said, because of your minds being polluted, because of defilement of the particular time, because of your negligence of my directions, and because of your being apathetic to the demigods, everything was inauspicious. The conditions for having good progeny in society are that the husband should be disciplined in religious and regulative principles, and the wife should be faithful to the husband. So in Bhagavad-Gita, it is said that the union, according to religious principles, is a representation of Krishna consciousness. So before engaging in union, both the husband and the wife must consider their mental condition, the particular time, the husband's direction, and obedience to the demigods. So according to Vedic society, there is a suitable auspicious time for union, which is called the time for Garbhadan. So Diti neglected all the principles of scriptural injunction. And therefore, although she was very anxious for auspicious children, she was informed that her children would not be worthy to be the sons of a Brahman. There is a clear indication here in that a Brahman son is not always a Brahman. Personalities like Ravan and Hiranyakashipu were actually born of Brahmins, but they were not accepted as Brahmins because their fathers did not follow the regulative principles for their birth. Such children are called demons or Rakshasas. There were only one or two Rakshasas in the previous age is due to negligence of the disciplinary methods. But during the age of Kali, there is no discipline. How then can one expect good children? Certainly, unwanted children cannot be a source of happiness in society. But through the Krishna consciousness movement, they can be raised to the human standard by chanting the holy name of God. That is a unique contribution of Lord Chaitanya to human society. So we can reverse the process. We might be born polluted, unruly, unholy. We all are, our parents were, our children are, and their children will be, because we don't follow any principles anymore. There is no restriction to mental condition or particular time or any direction or obedience to demigods. You know, things just happen. Really, and there is no following of scriptural injunctions or religious principles in these matters. But it doesn't matter how bad we are, this Maha Mantra, it can convert everyone to the mode of goodness and take us beyond the mode of goodness. O haughty one, you will have two contemptuous sons, born of your condemned womb. Unlucky woman, they will cause constant lamentation to all the three worlds. So she's been told, contemptuous sons are born of the condemned womb of their mother. In Bhagavad-Gita, it is said, when there is a deliberate negligence and of the regulative principles of religious life, the women as a class become polluted. And as a result, there are unwanted children. This is especially true for boys. Now, if the mother is not good, they cannot be good sons. The learned Kashyap would foresee the character of the sons who would be born of the condemned womb of Diti. So it seems very harsh thing to happen, but I suppose it's the sign of the times. At that time, breaking the religious principles was they were very strict about these things. Nowadays, not so much strictness, and everyone's equal. So, it's not so noticeable. The womb was condemned because of the mothers being too inclined and thus transgressing all the laws and injunctions of the scriptures. In a society where such women are predominant, one should not expect good children. And then Kashyap Muni goes on to say, they will kill poor, faultless living entities, torture women, and enrage the great souls. So he has forecasted. At that time, the Lord of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the well-wisher of all living entities, will descend and kill them, just as Indra smashes the mountains with his thunderbolts. So as stated in Bhagavad-Gita, the Lord descends as an incarnation to deliver the devotees and kill the miscreants. The Lord of the universe and of everything would appear to kill the sons of Diti because of the offending the devotees of the Lord. So there are many, in fact, there are many agents of the Lord, such as Indra, Chandra, Varun, Goddess, Durga, Kali, who can chastise any formidable miscreant in the world. The example of the mountain being smashed by a thunderbolt is very appropriate. The mountain is considered the most strongly built body within the universe, yet it can be easily smashed by the arrangement of the Supreme Lord. So the Supreme Person of Godhead does not need to descend in order to kill any strongly built body. He has so many agents and he can do it just from where he is sitting because he's in the heart and he can just kill from inside. He doesn't need to physically appear to kill anyone. But he comes down just for the sake of his devotees. So everyone is subject to the miseries offered by material nature, but because the activities of miscreants, such as killing innocent people and animals or torturing women, are harmful to everyone and are therefore a source of pain for the devotees. The Lord comes down. He descends only to give relief to his ardent devotees. The killing of the miscreants by the Lord is also the mercy of the Lord towards his miscreant. Because Krishna, he can do no wrong. There is no such thing as bad in his vocabulary or wrong in his vocabulary. Even his punishment is like a reward, is a mercy, is his mercy. Krishna doesn't do anything bad. So in our spiritual life, whatever happens, we say it's all good. We see some of the devotees saying, it's all good, Prabhu, it's all good. But it is all good because if Krishna is arranging, then it can only be good. There is no bad in Krishna's vocabulary. So although apparently the Lord takes the sides of the devotees, since the Lord is absolute, there is no difference between his activities of killing the miscreants and favoring the devotees. Same thing, he's showing mercy to both. To Krishna, everyone's equal. But he treats you the way that you should be treated. If he has to kill you, he'll kill you. If he's going to favor you, then he will favor you like the devotee. but he's showing mercy in both instances. Diti said, "It is very good that my sons will be magnanimously killed by the arms of the personally regarded with the Sudarshan weapon. O my husband, may they never be killed by the wrath of the Brahmin devotees." So the learned Kashyap said, because of your lamentations, penitence, and proper deliberation, and also because of your unflinching faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and your adoration for Lord Shiva and me. So now he's telling the good, because that she is lamenting and she feels really foolish of just what just happened. But it was Krishna's arrangement in the first place, as we know, because he had to make arrangements for these his doorkeepers to come to earth. So that arrangement's made through Diti. So, and because of your unflinching faith in Supreme Personality Godhead and your adoration for Lord Shiva and me, one of the sons, Prahlad, of your son Hiranyakashipu, will be an approved devotee of the Lord. And his fame will be broadcast equally with that of the personality of Godhead. So there, some good will come out of this as well, or at least some noticeable good that we can see. Everyone will be pleased with him because the personality of Godhead, the supreme control of the universe, is always satisfied with a devotee who does not wish for anything beyond him. The supreme personality of Godhead is situated everywhere as the super soul. He can dictate to anyone and everyone as he likes. The would-be grandson of Diti, who was predicted to be a great devotee, would be liked by everyone, even by the enemies of his father, because he would have no other vision besides the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A pure devotee of the Lord sees the presence of his worshipper Lord everywhere. The Lord reciprocates in such a way that all living entities in him whom the Lord is dwelling has the super soul also like a pure devotee, because the Lord is present in their hearts and can dictate to them to be friendly to his devotee. So I guess when somebody is being unfriendly to us, then that is also the Lord's dictation, to teach something. There are many instances in history wherein even the most ferocious animal became friendly to a pure devotee of the Lord. That's Lord Chaitanya. The sage Maitreya said, now we're coming back to Vidu's and Maitreya's conversation, hearing that her grandson would be a great devotee and that her sons would be killed by Krishna, Diti was highly pleased in mind. Diti was very grieved to learn that because of her untimely pregnancy, her sons would be demons and would fight with the Lord. But when she heard that her grandson would be a great devotee and that her two sons would be killed by the Lord, she was very satisfied. As the wife of a great sage and the daughter of a great Prajapati Daksh, she knew that by being killed by the personality of Godhead is a great fortune, since the Lord is absolute. His acts of violence and non-violence are both on the absolute platform. There is no difference in such acts of the Lord. Mundane violence and non-violence have nothing to do with the Lord's acts. A demon killed by him attains the same results as one who attains liberation after many, many births of penance and austerity. So in Krishna's house, you can't go wrong. Whatever you do, you can't go wrong, because you will always be learning something and he will always be giving you his mercy. So thank you so much for joining. My father-in-law, Jai Prabhu, Partha Prabhu, Prem Prakash Prabhu, Sarveshya Mataji. Our numbers are low today, but it's okay. We're getting the mercy. That's the main thing. Okay. Jai Prabhu, would you like to make a start, please?
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I think last week we ended at the point where Kashyapa Muni tells his wife now to wait just a bit longer to fulfill her desire to get pregnant. It seems as though they didn't wait and just went ahead with it anyway. So I mean, Kashyapa knew that Lord Shiva would not be pleased with him, and he knew that there would be punishing coming for this, and child conceived would certainly be not a good one. So, I mean, Diti realised that she's caused offence to both Lord Shiva and offence to her husband, by stopping him doing his evening prayers. So, Lord Shiva has two puppy names, Rudra and Asatosh, and so he can get angry easily, and he can also be pacified easily. So Lord Shiva, although Diti was his relative, he says Lord Shiva regards no one as his relative, and he's not does not show favour to anyone. So Kashyapa, he told his wife that because of her negligence, that she would have two sons that would cause constant lamentation to all three worlds, killing the poor, torturing women, and enraging great souls. And the Lord of the universe would descend to kill them both. So I think it came down in two incarnations. I think so. Narishma and Vara had to kill two sons. If he was pleased that the Supreme Lord would.
Unmute. Therefore, your microphone is unmute.
Jai Prabhu, could you unmute yourself, please? Okay. Karen Prabhu? Jai
Yeah.
Prabhu? Yeah. Carry on.
So Diti was pleased that it will be Supreme Lord that will kill his sons. Anyone that is killed by Lord is liberated. Such good fortune is not even achieved by great sages. So obviously this was by arrangement. They became demons. So Kashyapa tells his wife that because of her faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and adoration of Lord Shiva for him, one of her grandsons, Prahlad, would become a great devotee of the Lord, and he'll reach the same heights in fame as almost as Krishna. I don't. He didn't. I mean, Prahlad Maharaj talked about at the end of the chapter. I don't think you mentioned him, but I'll just go through 3 points. So he makes a few points about Prahlad. He'll be a saintly person who others will try and emulate. He will have all the good qualities. He will be happy in others' happiness, distressed in others' distress. He'll have no enemies or animosity to anyone. And we know that Prahlad Maharaj went through a lot of torture, but he never cursed, anybody that harmed him. So it's a great quality to have. I mean, how many people can forgive anybody that harms them or steals it from them? But yeah, so due to the pure devotional service, Prahlad was situated in transcendental ecstasy and entered the spiritual sky after quitting the material world. Yes, okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, Prahlad Maharaj, even after all the torture, he wanted mercy for his father. After he asked Nrsimhadev to help his father. Actually, even when he's killed, he wanted his soul to be helped. For Nrsimhadev to show mercy to his father's soul. So it just shows the sign of a pure devotee. He has no enemies and always friendly to everyone, and even to their enemies, they're friendly. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Partha Prabhu, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna to everyone. Thank you, Prabhu. Such a nice class, and repetition from Jai Prabhu as well. Some points which I could take from this purport is like, Prabhuji, like everyone says that when we speak about Bhagavatam, reading Bhagavatam and any other scriptures, they say that, oh, I'm not that old now. I need more time to read all these things. But actually, in this purport, it is actually meant for all the childrens only. Like I mean, when you are going to get married, how you have to prepare yourself, and when you're going to like give birth to a child, how one mood should be. So this is actually meant for the children rather than the elder people. Like Bhagavatam has everything in it, and then we understand Lord Shiva's position as well, like in Lord Vishnu's position from these purports. And it's also mentioned that the great souls always follow the great devotees. So the character followed by great souls, because Lord Shiva is a great devotee, so great soul follow the great devotees. And another point is he's not affected by the association. So normally we always feel like we always have to be in good association. That is true, but once one person is really situated in devotion, then he won't be affected by any kind of association, because he is very clear in his mind uh, about the Lord. That's what I felt. Um, that's all, Prabhuji, actually.
Thank you, Ro. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of injunctions and instructions in the scriptures, but who actually follows? This is the thing. Who actually follows and who actually can follow? This is the problem. I mean, who do you think? You think people actually follow these instructions even now, Prabhu?
I mean, for giving the birth, I mean, for example, like we are following like what is it called? Garbha Sanskaran, Sambha Sanskaran. At least in ISKCON, I've seen like they're following this Garbha Sanskaran. And in normal tradition, Prabhuji, like I see, they follow the timings. Like whenever they do any auspicious activities, they see that, okay, what is the calendar, what is the time, what is Muhurt. They follow those things. But other things like keeping ourselves in good mood, I mean, they're following ritualistically rather than lovingly towards the God or following the principle. That's what I feel. Prabhuji.
Sure. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, maybe there are some people following. I mean, even in ISKCON, I don't know if if the newly marrieds are following the Garbhodhan Sanskara or not. But yeah, it's good if you can follow, then it's a good thing. But I suppose because it's not a norm. It's not it's a normal expected thing that people are not so keen to follow. I think when people I spoken to, that they normally laugh at you have to do 50 rounds and you have to do this and you have to do that, and you just see it seems a big ask, something to do like that. I don't know how many people actually, I mean, people would like to follow it, I guess, but I don't know how many people actually follow it. Maybe some devotees maybe follow. I don't think everybody follows these instructions nowadays. I think it's very, very difficult to do that. This is my experience anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. And
yeah, I mean,
maybe
the thing is simple to follow, Prabhuji. Like I heard recently from Krishna Prem Prabhu about the process, but actually the process is very simple. And somebody can actually follow it to get good kids actually.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm sure there are devotees following, but I'm just saying that I don't think they're all doing that, all following. But it's good if if it can be done. I mean, especially if people are having problem conceiving, if somebody's having problem getting pregnant, and then every time they try to conceive, they have to go through the process. Would they do that? Because it might, some people, it might take longer to conceive than others. But would they follow that every time they want to conceive? Would they follow the process? I don't know, Prabhu. But yeah, it's good if they can. That's what I can say. Thank you, Bharata Prabhu. Prem Prakash Prabhuji, Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam. Haribol. Hope you're well.
Very good,
And then,
Robert.
good. So basically, I was listening few of the things recently, and I was just contemplating upon few of the things. And it many people say that man changa to katauti mein ganga. That means if the heart is pure, if the heart is pure, then you don't need to actually perform any of the sacrifice, go to temple or do any of the things basically. But the important thing is to understand that when it doesn't matter what about heart. To control heart is a big thing, and the process to control the heart is to actually go to temple. Process to control to mind is to follow Vedic injunctions and actually respect them by the means what has been written and have full understanding of it. And this particular pastime actually is an exemplary example of that this particular concept that we need to still follow the rules and regulation and Vedic injunctions until, of course, one is pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada. So we are not at that position. There are 2 or 3 important points which I consider derive from this part is that if Lord wills, no one can stop the thing. If the Krishna wants to have something to happen, nobody can stop it. So if the pregnancy of Diti with Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha was supposed to happen as a consequence of Jay and Vijay pastime, it was supposed to happen. Not even Brahmaji could have controlled or prevented it. So it is supposed to happen. That will happen because it's a will of Lord. Otherwise, why a woman who is still falling, who is still such a wife of such exalted devotee as well, would actually have such an instinct to have children at that time? And why would sorry, why would the Muni, sorry, I just forget his name. Sorry, what is the name of
Kashyap Muni.
Kashyap Muni, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, why would Kashyap Muni? Sorry, I'm reading other incident where so I'm confusing with 2 names at the moment. So Kashyap Muni would actually allow this to happen.
Exactly.
So until it's a will of Lord, it's not going to happen. So no one can control on the will of Lord whether it's going happening bad or it's happening good. It's if Krishna wishes, it's going to happen. Nobody can control it. That's one thing. The other thing which I actually take away is when other thing is that no matter what instruction we follow, basically we still have to follow the bhakti yoga, because Vedic injunction is very powerful. If we don't follow the timing, if we don't follow the things accordingly, so we have to respect the timings and everything, even if we follow the Vedic, if we are still following Vedic injunctions. But we still have to follow our Guru Maharaj instruction. We still have to follow what's being given to us by the parampara, and also uh, the things which are part of Vedic process or Vedic instructions. Because if a small deviation can result in such a bad, it's not a bad thing. It's still will of Krishna, but it actually created havoc in the universe, in the balance of goodness in the universe. So if that can happen, so it can happen to any one of us. So we need to be very careful while executing our instructions that's been given to us. And the process to go follow instruction is to actually have faith in the Vani that's been given to us, passed on by Guru Maharaj and our acharyas, and try our best to follow them, whatever is possible in time, place, and circumstances, while not knowingly violating the principles. That's more important. Why I say knowingly? Because we normally tend to violate principles, but unknowingly. So that can be given excuse, but knowingly we shouldn't do it. That's what Kashyapa Muni did. He knew that the consequence was not right, but he knowingly um, didn't actually follow it. So that 2 or 3 things I would like to actually put on. And the first thing is obviously, which I said, that one has to follow the process to control mind. These are for us, not for Krishna. And everything has repercussions attached to it in small, minute things or in bigger way, but the things are there. So it's more important for us to understand and knowingly whatever in time, place, and circumstances are there, we need to follow it and have respect for the repercussions because it's all will of Krishna. We have to still respect that as well.
Sure. Thank you, Ravi. Thank you so much. So, as you said, Jai Vijay's, it was their entry to the material world, but it's a very extreme example, isn't it? It's a very extreme example because, like I said, okay, in Krishna consciousness, a small percentage might be following the Garbhadan process, but outside Krishna consciousness, nobody's following the Garbhadan process. But the whole world isn't full of Hiranyakashipus, right? Even though they're not following the process, the world isn't that bad. Everybody's not a unruly demon and trying to destroy the earth and killing women and children and what have you. Okay, there is a percentage. There will always be a minority. It's still a minority. It's not a majority. So there are so many children born outside the scriptural injunctions, but they're still not that bad.
No, Prabhuji, what I actually, you are right, Prabhuji, but I also understand that the best way to describe ourselves is basically lock ourselves in a room without any restrictions, what we need to do, and then see what we tend to do, what our heart desires at that particular time. That is the best way to describe ourselves at what position we are there. So even though with a social political order, if people are there going around, we can't really understand that what they have intention to do in this world. We can judge ourselves, but we can't judge everyone. So yeah, so that's my understanding is there. But also one more thing which I want to bring in is that there are many devotees as well around the world. Although their bads are there, but there are devotees going around on Harinam. They are going around like yourself and everyone else, going around on Harinam, distributing books, giving mercy, doing kirtan and this. So that actually also enables to curb down the influence of Kali or influence of even people are not born out of that particular sanskar, but it's still that curbs on a lot many forces that could have allowed them to deviate from the principles. So that's also is there.
Very good point. Very good point. Yeah, to say if you're chanting any household that's chanting Hare, the Maha Mantra, the ghosts and the demons cannot enter that house, and that's for sure, isn't it? So if you're following the Krishna consciousness and you're doing devotional service in terms of chanting and the rest, then you cannot be touched by the demonic forces anyway. And even all the people there are people who are religious to an extent, and they're doing good work, doing charity, things like that. So it depends on, you have children, depends on how you bring them up as well. And if you're following regulations, and then the children, you set a good example for the kids, and then they all also follow. Always, there's always an exception to the rule, but generally this is how it's working out, that you set a good example for your children, and you're good, and then children will also follow your example. Because you can only teach your children what you know. As I give you example that a thief can only teach his child how to steal, and he thinks, I'm teaching my child how to survive in the world, to earn a living, so to speak. That's his way. He's been stealing, so he thinks I can teach my son as well, so he can carry on getting, he's able to look after himself, feed himself as well.
Yeah, you're right, Prabhuji. The only thing by the Krishnas, if Krishna allows, one can do is pass on the consciousness to children and others, basically. And if they are receptive enough, then they will receive the consciousness and they will further progress in that consciousness, and they can pass on further.
Very good.
That consciousness.
Thank you so much. Excellent. Yeah, absolutely right. Okay, we'll move on to Sureshi Mataji. Mataji, are you there? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haji Mataji, Hari Bol.
I haven't got much to say. Only I can say that in this world, any action you do, you get reaction, good or bad. And because of that good or bad reaction, we suffer in this, and we get, sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are not happy, we are in a problem, because good or bad, you get the reaction. And Diti got her reaction, by her action, she got reaction that she suffered when her sons were killed by Lord Vishnu. She wasn't happy. So
Sure.
in this world, we have to see that what action we going to do, whether it will be our problem in our next life or even in this life. And Lord Shiva, talking about Lord Shiva, a lot of people, they get confused whether they worship Lord Shiva. Whereas Lord Shiva, he's a great Vaishnava, and they say Vaishnava Yatha Sambhu. And in Ramayana, Lord Ram says one place that anybody disrespect or insult Lord Shiva, they can't get my devotion. And same thing, Krishna says that if anybody insults his devotees, he can't bear it, and they can't get the devotion. And so we must respect, because just as like we respect the great Vaishnavas, so we respect Lord Shiva because he's our teacher, he's our guru. And he's the one who recited Ramayana to Parvati, and he recited Bhagavatam to Parvati as well. He was the first one, and Parvati couldn't hear also, the Shuk got it, so he became Sukdev Goswami. So that's action, everything happens, it's our due to our action, what kind of things we do in these good or bad things. That's what I can say this morning. The others have covered a lot of things, so about Diti's pregnancy and all these things. So I don't want to repeat that again. So just I'm saying it's just Diti's reaction that she got the reaction, and but it was all the plan of Krishna. Anything happens in this world, in all plan of Krishna, we get an excuse to blame somebody or do something. Somebody did something, we blame Diti to all these things, but it's all Krishna's plan, and we have to go according to his plan, whether we be happy or, but we should take it same, distress, happiness equal. That's a pure devotee. That Krishna says, my devotee sees everything equal. Just like Diana, I suffer and happiness, distress, you should consider same, then you can become a devotee. But it is very hard for normal human being, to call it, because we get sad when something happens bad, we get sad, and something happens, we get happy. But the pure devotees, they do. So we have to be careful what kind of action we do, because we're gonna get the reaction. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Absolutely. So we should respect the Vaishnavas, and Lord Shiva is the highest Vaishnav. Should respect him. And it is also mentioned that what is under our control, we should do our best to do it. What is actually under our control, we should endeavor to do our best to achieve that. And what is not under our control, then we just pray to the Lord as mercy for that, because we don't have any, there's certain things we don't have any control over, and then we let Krishna decide what's the best way. So, but what we can control, we should try our best to control or do. Thank you so much. Okay, we have very little time left now. We'll do one round today. Sureshi Mataji, would you like to start, please?
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pasaya